Welcome back to the Inside Athletic Training Podcast. On today's episode, we sit down with Erick Flores, the International Medical Coordinator for the Detroit Tigers, to talk about the unique world of International Academy Baseball and what it takes to manage player health at the developmental level of professional baseball. Enjoy the show. All right. Erick, welcome to the Inside Athletic Training Podcast. Very excited to have you on for this episode to talk about all things athletic training and your career and your current role with the Tigers. To get started today, I'd love to give you a couple minutes to share information about your background, where were you from, and how you kind of broke into athletic training.
Well, Sam, thank you for having me. It took me a while. I've been thinking about doing this for a couple of years, so I finally decided. So a little bit about me. I'm from Venezuela, born and raised. I'm the International Medical Coordinator for the Detroit Tigers. I did 4 years in rookie ball, 3 years in low A, our Flying Tigers team. And currently my second year, I'm the international guy from the medical. I was lucky. My dad raised me to play multi-sports. I finished high school, and I always have the possibility of traveling to the States. I will consider myself back in time be some middle class, living in like a low middle class. So I always was lucky enough to and I spend enough time in the States, So that opened my mind to. I said to myself at one point, like, hey, I kind of like this country. I would like to come back here and develop my life here. So after finishing high school, I get in touch with a couple of people. What's the process? What do I need to do? My mom, she was really supportive. She had a great career in the free agent for travel. So she would sell tickets and hotels for multiple companies. So that was her main income. And I was lucky enough she paid for a couple of basketball camps. I actually played basketball. I played baseball until I was 12. So by the time I finished high school, I was already ahead of my English. And then I took the TOEFL. I took the TOEFL. With the camps that I did, I got a couple offers, and I ended up going to Lindenwood University Belleville. Okay. It was a small school. The main campus is in St. Charles. Actual Belleville campus is closed now due to limitations on some students. So I went there for 5 years. And then long story short, I didn't know what to study. To be honest, I didn't know what athletic training was. There is no athletic trainers in Venezuela. But then I took some introductory courses, and I kind of like it. I like the environment. I like the locker room. I like the setup. So I did a lot of rotations in football. My head AT for football was like, hey man, you speak Spanish. Like you should actually try to get into baseball. And I actually flipped the switch a little bit. And on my last rotation, I did baseball. And then I started applying to a couple of PBAT's internship. And ex-Tiger and PBAT's collaborator, Corey Trimble, was like, do not worry. Come here. We utilize you, no matter your certification status. So unfortunately, I failed my exam the first time, but I passed the second time. And that's when I got the full-time position in rookie ball.
That's awesome. And I know you mentioned Corey Trumbo. He's been a huge impact on, my work with PBATs and the entire society now with the Marlins as their director of sports medicine. Great guy there. Let me ask you, what was it like working with Corey? Was he kind of a mentor for you as you were coming up in athletic training?
Oh, yes. Corey has a great foundation for what sport medicine is at. He is the guy that builds some of my biggest characteristics and what I expect from my staff. So I'm really grateful because without him, I wouldn't be in baseball, to be honest with you.
Right. Yeah. Great guy. And I think he's touched the lives of many PBATS members and more to come for sure for Corey. Well, Erick, I'm curious, we haven't had someone in your exact position on the podcast. Walk us through your current role as International Medical Coordinator with the Tigers. What does it kind of look like every day for you at work?
So my current role, I oversee all medical aspects of the DR Academy and the international signing process. So I spend half of my time in the States and half of the time in the DR. In general, I make sure our risk assessments are up to date. When we agreed to sign a play international, we design plans based on our team physicians, Dr. Brahman and Dr. Michael Workins, to have the best outcome for them. And we assess the risk, we let know the scouts, and then help them make decisions. When I'm in the DR, I normally try to get in earlier, get a workout. We meet with my staff over big ticket items of the day, what testing, rehab milestone, and trying to bring the most energy to my employees, to my rehab guys. Baseball is tough. Rehab in baseball is even tougher. We get guys ready, then practice or gain coverage, and then we finish the day with a lovely paperwork. I make sure to be ahead of the communication programming or next week's throwing program. I've been trying to involve some education from the health and performance aspect. I'm communicating with our team physicians for scan, return to playing timelines, etc. And when I'm in America, it's a little more different. I communicate with my staff constantly in the DR to make sure everything is being done. And I help a lot the rehab guys in our Tiger Town complex down in Florida. A lot of appointments, mostly for Spanish speakers. So this is for everybody that speaks Spanish and speak English. Hey, this could be just your golden ticket as it is mine.
Yeah, very interesting. I know it's a different role from, someone who's at a single A affiliate or triple A or even in a big league role. Talk about how that does differ. I know you're not covering a single affiliate, so your hands are kind of on so many different groups at once. How does that make things different kind of for your day to day as an athletic trainer?
So, I mean, I'm in my leadership role right now. So I encourage a lot to be better. I have my people in collaboration with multiple departments. It's a lot of delegating and trusting your staff, and they learn. So I can focus on the more advanced tasks. I keep constant communication with the medical coordinator, Sean McFarland, and our academy director, Euclide Rojas. In the front side of the scare for appointments and surgeries. And the times are not that bad, actually, because, I work mornings, afternoons, in the DR as well. That's the same schedule. It differs from the state side that is mostly afternoon and evenings.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes total sense. And when you were coming up and trying to break into baseball, you talked about your time in college learning about the profession. Was there something specifically that drew you to the international side of player care?
In college, not specifically.
Okay.
On my first year, I've done a lot of winter ball. So that opened my mind for an international position. And also don't forget the travel. Me and my wife, I on campus. We love to go places. So where people go for vacation, I go for work, and I do both.
There you go. That's great. No, and obviously international player care is different, as you mentioned. The age of the player, their backgrounds, there's a lot of things that are different than maybe being at an affiliate level. Are there big challenges for you when you're kind of managing so much in terms of the entire academy and the international side for the Tigers?
So when it comes to challenge, I think just about preparation and processes is so important. Have a good network of clinicians and hospitals in the DR, and being able to have everything up to the standard. But we have a good system down here. This year we actually closed a deal with, I don't know if he's been in the PBAT podcast before, but he's an assistant for the Yankees. His name is Alfonso Malaguti.
Sure.
He has a big network of PT clinics. So we actually are using him a lot for He covers Venezuela, Panama, Colombia. He's opening one more in San Juan. And everything in the DR is covered by him. So he's doing an incredible job. And he's not only helping me, he's helping at least 20 teams down here.
Awesome. That's really cool. And obviously there's a big difference, like we mentioned, of the international side of things. Not everybody might be fit out for it. Not everybody is bilingual like you are and speaking multiple languages. How does that kind of cultural difference impact not only how you communicate with the players, but also the trust that you gain in them as you work with them more often.
I'm gonna mention education a lot. I think if you want to change the culture, you have to spend time in education with players
Mm-hmm.
and staff. I'm a firm believer that the more my words is understood, the more buy-in there is going to be. We're trying to do a good job on presentation for staff and players. We actually use the one about anchor because it's actually pretty unfair to the players to tell them, okay, get on the table and give me white tea and ace, holding for 10 seconds to set up three. Humans deserve a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Once they understand the reason, they will do it right and they will do it efficiently. All
Right.
players need to know this phrase. This is actually from one of our pitching coordinators, Jorge Cordoba. He was in the WBC with Team Venezuela, so hashtag Venezuela WBC. You are a $3 million Bugatti. You better take care of yourself.
That's right. That's right. These are very, important assets, also human beings, but important assets to each club. So that's interesting to hear you say that. And I do have to ask, Erick, being working in Venezuela and Mexico, obviously, what was the WBC like watching for you?
Oh, that was intense. I mean, I've been in a lot of events in place, like in the dugout when I was working, but nothing like seeing your nation
Yeah.
dominating in the sports that you working. I know a couple of those guys. I know Tomas Vera.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see how impactful that was. And it was necessary for the country. We've been so
Hmm.
low for so long that
Right.
actually baseball bring us up and get our name back where we wanted, or where we want to be.
Sure. And talk a little bit about, Tomas and your relationship with him. He's a longtime PBATS member, former PBATS board member, an amazing guy, very influential. Has he had a big impact on your career being from a similar area?
100%. We talked actually like 2 years ago because I was finishing some work in the States and they needed a trainer in Venezuela in Margarita Island.
Hmm.
And I get the email and then I reach out to him and he was like, "Where have you been?" And he helped me set up and get that job. We met physically these last winter meetings and it was great. I really admire his career, what he's
Hmm.
done for the game and what he's done for Venezuelans in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome to see him celebrating with so many people that we know after that amazing win from Team Venezuela. Well, Erick, what kind of things did you take in working in Venezuela and Mexico that kind of shaped how you approach your care for players today?
So Mexico and Venezuela was a lot of fun. That's actually how I met my wife.
Okay.
Uh, but it was the stream of both wars. It was the resources, the tough conversation, the
Hmm.
employees that you have to oversee, but you didn't hire them. So you will have multiple personalities you will need to adapt. And I think that's everywhere you go, but it's a little extreme over there. This career is it's pretty hard and lucrative, but it's not for everybody.
Hmm.
Coming back to the resources, I have both sides of the coin. One thing was great in resources. We even have like a PT clinic to send some of the rehab guys, so we could actually focus on the active team. But another team didn't have a lot. So I remember my training room be on the road being to carry on luggage, and one of those luggage were meds. So you really have to use your brains,
Yeah,
cocoa bands, and your hands.
that's right. That's right. Well, when Erick, when you're working across an entire organization, and medical standards are so important. How do you, as someone in charge of that area, ensure the consistency from, Ryan, Kelly, and Chris, the big league level, all the way down to everybody? How do you make sure that everyone's on the same page in terms of their standards?
So the international market is different. In the States, you're gonna follow guys at least their high school careers, and it's
Hmm.
easy because everybody play games. So in the international market, you're dealing more with academies. They don't compete that often.
Hmm.
So we have a pretty good standard that I think we are or we have it here and all the way up. Uh, we have our MRIs, our X-rays, our soft tissues ultrasounds, our internals, blood work, EKGs. So I
Hmm.
keep all that the same. I'm trying to mitigate risk as much as I can. because if I don't do that, they're gonna end up with me. So a lot can happen during those years. I really helped Rob Metzler, Tom Moore, Braxiol, and Miguel Garcia, Rafael Gonzalez to make a decision. That's pretty much what I do for them, trying to help them make a decision and at the end of the day have the better outcome for the better of the team. One thing that I do a lot, we have a great group of PTs, man. And I'm really grateful because they led by Duncan Evans. So when I'm in the room in the States, I just shut my mouth and I listen because those people are just so knowledgeable, and I try to keep my standards the same way we do in the States. It's a lot of technology nowadays, and sports science we are pretty deep in sports science, and our group of people led by Georgia Gibling, they just gave me great tools, man. They made me make better decisions with all the information and data that we're using nowadays.
Mm-hmm. And within so much innovation and technology, when it comes to injury prevention at the academy level, since you aren't competing so often, what does that system and process look like for you as an athletic trainer in terms of just taking care of the young guys over there?
So on the international level, I've been diligent to ensuring the transition of our DSL player to a stateside to be something familiar, you know? So we are in constant workload monitoring, isometric testing, multiple collaboration to keep guys on the fields. We keep our programs based on our baselines, and depending on feedback symptoms, we keep adjusting. This is a game of adjustment, and I think it has to come from every department.
You know, like I mentioned, so much innovation going on in athletic training versus kind of doing things that you've always done for a long time. Things are changing rapidly, especially at the academy level. How do you kind of know what to innovate on, but also what to, what keep doing what's always been working for you guys there?
So like baseball and anatomy, it hasn't really changed that much. It's just about improving and evolving. I think as clinicians, we need to have our opinions and be able to learn. That's the only thing to growth. You have to take the best of both worlds. Our processes and assessment are complex, and we're trying to consider every factor for rehabs, prevention, and prep work. Baseball is a game of numbers, and I feel like I have mine too. Knowing what a supine hip IR relates to prone hip IR, including femoral torsion, like all those stuff are important. And the more objective we can be with those measurements, the more it can translate to the field.
Sure. Yeah, and I want to shift gears a bit here, Erick, and talk, about communication. Many of your colleagues across the league have, talked about so much how important that communication is to what they do every day. What's the communication like for you with the front office, with the coaching staff, with team doctors? How do you handle trying to talk to so many people at once throughout each day?
I think the organization has a great job of platforms about sharing communication about the players. So it's pretty easy to find everything where everybody is doing on every level. I think our front office in the DR, my boys Reynaldo Vega, Wilfredo Crespo, and Jimmy Ortiz, man, they're an amazing trio. They go beyond their job description, and I think that's what keeps the Tigers Academy in shape. Also, let's not forget about people in the stateside: Shane Farrell, Ryan Garco, David Allende, Jose Sahur, the international scouting. We just have a great foundation. And the Tigers are really well recognized because when I go and do winter ball, like I hear good reference. It's not just because I'm a Tiger, it's because what we're doing beyond everybody else, One guy that really helped me a ton over here is Felix Ojeda. He's the head of SNC down here. I mean, he's passionate. He likes it. He understands because he's been here longer than me. So he's being my ally over here. I think another people that I cannot forget to mention is nutrition, led by Susana Melendez. They have been incredible, and they're just care at the end of the day. It's not just about saying how much you care; it's about showing it. Implementing mental performance have been huge also. Andrea Fuchs along with Jorge Rodriguez. I think we're trying to attack from every angle to have the best players from mind to the anatomy part,
Sure. No, that makes total sense. And one thing that you mentioned is kind of those relationships with Sean McFarland, with people at the top in the front office, team doctors. How important is it to build those relationships for someone in your position who isn't there every day at the same, at the, in Detroit or in a certain spot you're kind of bouncing around? How important are those relationships when it comes to what you do every day?
I'll say they are impactful, and I just help them make better decisions. From the
Hmm.
medical part, I try to relay as much information as I can with the corrective time zone. I always met some time zones and I text them really early, but I won't do that again. But I try to be ahead and try to share everything that I can, because they really value the medical information and they
Hmm.
put in place plans based on that. So I try to be pretty uniformal and try not to skip any bridges, but they really value the outcome and the input from the medical part.
Hmm. And, I know it's a long season. There's so many people involved in everything that you guys are doing. Is there someone you're talking to most in your position as the international medical coordinator? Is there someone at the big league level you're communicating to? What's that kind of chain of command for communication within the Tigers?
So I filter everything to my boss, Sean McFarland. We actually started in the Tigers for month apart.
Okay,
We were
cool.
roommates at Fexer Hall. People will know about this place. And that's my guy for the big decisions and big updates.
Yeah.
For the information regarding rehab, special cases, like I mentioned before, I go to a group of PTs. Aoki, Frankie, and Saga are really good at bringing back our players. And I rely on their experience and their knowledge. From
Hmm.
the big league level, I talk to Ryan. They are pretty busy people, but they always have time for answers. So Ryan has spent a good time building leaders, and he really gave me the opportunity to be impactful in a role that I'm loving it right now.
Hmm.
To mention more people, Kelly, incredible human being, better
Right.
AT,
Yeah.
better AT. She makes everything seem so easy when it comes to those teachable moments. And I can't forget about C-Mac.
Yeah.
C-Mac is the way he is, and the minorities build him the way he can reflect. And he shared that knowledge, not just with me, but with our all affiliated head ATs and assistants.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you said it best. Ryan Kelly and Chris are all great athletic trainers, but even better people and always have time for everything that anyone needs from them. So it's always cool to hear you talk about that as well. Well, Eric, you've worked across multiple countries and different levels in this profession. You've probably seen more than a lot of people in the game, just from your upbringing and your experience and your international acumen. How did that kind of shape you as an athletic trainer in different ways than other people?
So I think my path has shaped me to understand development baseball versus competitive baseball. I think
Hmm.
you can have both, but it's hard to develop in a losing environment. My perspective in athletic training has changed me since last year. We took this really good course about connecting assessment and training with skills. And that told me that we just don't rehab guys and try to keep them on the field. We can actually impact them performance of the game in the athletic training room, with all
Hmm.
the technology, baseball information. I think that the next level of every AT is not just to keep guys healthy, is how they can impact their game with their prep work, with their exercises, with the treatments.
Hmm. And obviously, you have so much experience as we talked about throughout today, Eric. Wondering, there's a lot of people who maybe would be intimidated to work internationally, maybe scared to go drive in a new place or eat new food or do different things that they've never done before outside of the U.S. What advice would you have for those young athletic trainers who are maybe considering going and working internationally or at an academy?
When it comes to winter ball, I will advise to do at least 2 years, one in different leagues, because it's
Hmm.
different. Baseball is so different in every place. Like in Mexico, it's a pretty solid schedule. They have 3 games at home, 3 games away, but the
Yep.
travel is long. It's a pretty big country. And
Hmm.
it's fun, man. It's like a party. You're gonna have people just having a good time. They might be not even paying attention to the game. But the people are just having a great time. When Venezuela, they're really die-hard fans and they want results. So it's gonna be more media involvement, more pressure, more tough conversations. So if you really want to be in pro baseball, experience is needed. I might have done way too much winter ball, but that's where I learned a skill that we have never learned in the minors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I kind of want to touch on. As you've been a part of the Tigers organization and seen the development of the academy and international program, and also just awesome success of the big league club the past couple of years. What has it been like for you as an employee of the club to kind of see the team, get to where it is and now kind of come into this season with really, really high expectations?
I mean, it's been amazing. I had the opportunity to go to one game of the playoff last year for appointments, and I ended up to getting into the game. And the year before, I had to do some coverage in AAA. So we went to the game. It's been incredible how much we have grown from PD, science, technology. It's showing in the field. And we're pushing players, man. They have earned it. I remember my first year, we have 2 rookie ball teams, plus, of course, short season. 90% of those careers would end in rookie ball or short season.
Mm-hmm.
And I know why losing feels. When I was in Mexico, we lost the final. When I was in Venezuela in 23, 24, we lost the final.
Yeah.
I love Florida State League final on 24. But one thing that my pitching coach used to say is like, beautiful thing about baseball, there is always tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, like the Tigers have their second playoff run. AA almost went back to back to back. We won in low A and high A. FCL went to playoffs. So our farm is showing the product and is being noticed by the whole baseball world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's that's a great way to think about it. There's always another day because winning is tough, as we all know. Well, Erick, I want to kind of talk to you a bit about the future of your role. International medical coordination is evolving. It's more important than ever now. Where do you see kind of this role that you're in going over the next couple of years within the game?
That's a tough question. I think this role will eventually evolve to the health and performance more background. I think they go hand in hand. Mitigating risk, injury prevention, performance planning with departmental collaboration. Mm-hmm. It's not the right way. It's the only way. Our players in the DR, they just need to play game and understand the basics, the fundamental part. And to make that happen, they need to be healthy. They need to be strong. And all the day, they will perform at the level that they are required. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to wrap up today, Erick, this has all been awesome to hear from your perspective as someone in a unique role within baseball. The profession of athletic training has given a lot of our members a career, something they love, like you mentioned. How do you kind of see and advocate for the profession of athletic training outside of baseball? I mean, obviously, Venezuelan athletic training, and Tomas and all that, there's been a light shined on that group because of the WBC, which is awesome. How do you kind of advocate going forward for the profession of athletic training?
Well, let's talk about politics without talking about politics. I think with all the transition in America, in Venezuelan territory, there is a huge market for athletic trainer. Mm-hmm. I think implementing educational programs, courses is one of my goals. I want to give back to my home, to my country, mm-hmm. and the athletic training career can be developed in South America or even use Venezuela. We have pro soccer, pro baseball, in summer and winter. So sports are evolving. I would love to bring athletic training job opportunities, not for just Venezuelans, but for Americans. Mm-hmm. And also many skilled people that are certification is stopping them from having a job. But we need to begin somewhere. Let's bring education, set of standard, regulations, and we could have benefit for a whole different populations. And not just for the trainers. At the end of the day, this is for the athletes because we wouldn't have job if it wasn't for them.
That's right. That's a great way to say it. And obviously, bringing education to Venezuela and other countries is something Tomas Vera is very passionate about and he's been working on, and awesome to hear you kind of echo that sentiment there. Well, Erick, I really appreciate your time. I know you're super busy. You have a lot going on, ton of traveling. Thanks for all you do for PBATS and for the profession of athletic training, and wish you and everybody good health and nothing but the best of luck this year.
Appreciate it, Sam. Glad to do this, and thank you for giving me the opportunity again.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Inside Athletic Training Podcast. For more information about PBATS and the profession of athletic training, visit pbats.com. See you next time.